welcome back to All For United WFC. We've made it to the Champions League, eh? How about that? It was a bit more comfortable than maybe we thought. Barry was a little bit nervous on the show that we did the other day, but there was no nerves in sight at LSV yesterday. Once we got past the opening 10-15 minutes, it was easy going from there. So we've got a lot to get into. We're going to talk about the draw to start with as well, because obviously that's been made today. Really funky way of doing the draw. Did anyone watch it, where it's just like they pick one ball out and then the person in the middle pressed a big button in the middle? It was like some wizard thing going on, and then all of a sudden it just got auto-generated, all the teams that you were playing. It's quite cool. But yeah, obviously the draw has been made as well, so we'll talk about that to start with. Lots of things to talk about the game as well, and everything that happened at LSV yesterday as well. There's a lot to talk about. So yeah, get your thoughts, your comments in. And always, I'm pretty sure the player of the match should already... Yeah, it is. It's already in the chat. I said to the guys, right, we've got to... Because we always put 4 names on the chat, on the poll, when we're doing player of the match. And I was like, Terland's probably going to win this by a landslide anyway. It's already 85%. So, yeah, vote on it to make sure that every vote counts and all that. But, yeah, I think we might have a pretty clear winner on that one. Firstly, 2 people you probably haven't seen for a while, in Vic and Matt. Vic, you haven't been on for probably about a year. So it's been a long time. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Glad to be back. It's been a while.
Rumour has it you didn't come back because Barry stole Millie Turner from your draft 11, which was the last show that you were on.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the reason. I thought I'm going to have a year out to recover.
Snooze you lose, Vic. Snooze you lose.
No, definitely not the reason.
And Matt, over to you. I can't remember the last time you were on, but it feels like it's been a while. So how are you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm good. I think, I'm trying to think. It must at least be maybe 5-6 months. I've been busy keeping myself ticking over, but yeah, happy to be here and chat Champions League with you.
There we go. And Matt is the latest victim to sit next to me at a game and hear all the things that I say at a game and all those kind of things. But it was enjoyable yesterday, to be fair. Sat not too far from the SK Brann contingent that were kind of in the corner, because they did bring a couple with them. So fair play to them. On that one. Right, I'm going to quit before I get into the draw and everything else. I just want to ask on the game itself yesterday in terms of all the pre-match stuff and everything else, because LSV did try something. Oh, I say LSV. United at LSV did try something new yesterday. There was some sparkles going on, and that goal smoke. Well, there was a smoke and the red smoke before the game, and also every time a goal went in, smoke and all kinds of things shot up from behind the goal and everything else. I just want to know what you guys thought about it. Obviously, Barry, Vic, and Matt, you were both there with myself. Any thoughts on it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What's your kind of general consensus around all of that? It added something a bit different, particularly with it being a night game.
I thought it was brilliant. In fact, using the word brilliant, the friends who I was sat with, it started, and when we scored the first goal, I was like, this is brilliant. And then they were taking the mick out of me the whole game. But yeah, I thought it was great. It really brought an atmosphere. Obviously, there weren't as many fans as there probably should have been last night. Probably with it being a bit of an earlier kick-off. But I did think it definitely woke everybody up. The fireworks were lovely for the girls walking out. And yeah, the smoke coming out after every goal, I really want that every time now. If that is not there on Sunday, I'm going to be really upset. If this is what, getting into Champions League is like, then bring it on, because it was great.
Yeah, I can see this being a regular, particularly for the night games. I believe they have it for the rugby. I think that might be where this has come from. And they've kind of carried it across for the football. But Matt, obviously, we were sat behind the goal. So every time the goal that went in, obviously, in South Stand, and you could see the players celebrate, and all of a sudden you couldn't see them because the smoke had gone up. It was like they're behind there somewhere. Can't really see it. But what did you make of all that kind of in and around the game yesterday?
Yeah, I think the bit where they walked out into the pitch with the little fire thingies, they were fine. I'm not a massive smoke fan, although having looked back at my pictures, it does look pretty good on the pictures. So I think, yeah, listen, it is. I know it was something that Gareth said to me, they'll use it for the rugby every time they score a try. But I just felt like yesterday it was potentially overused at times. Like, listen, no issues with when they're coming on the pitch for goals. But at times it was blasting out at half time and full time. It was just like, okay. But yeah, I think, listen, it's something different, isn't it? Obviously, they're trying to create a little bit of a, atmosphere and, change things up a bit. And there's no harm in that. I just think maybe don't overuse it and have, like you said, disappearing players and smoke constantly going off. But yeah, it's made a nice change.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. As I said, I'm not against it. It just got a bit like, I'm with you, mate. It was a bit too frequent for my liking. It's like, come on. No need for that.
Well, it didn't really come across on the telly because they were too busy showing replays. I think my biggest thing about it is that you're not allowed to smoke in stadiums. You're not allowed to vape in stadiums. You're not allowed to throw flares on the pitch, but they can shove whatever they want up your nose. So it does sound ever so slightly contradictory. I mean, smoke, of course. Don't stop.
I just wanted to quickly, before we get onto the draw, because there's obviously a lot of comments about the draw as well. The last thing I want to say that's like non-match or non-on-field game related, there's kind of been referenced in the chat already by JJ as well about the attendance. And I think it is, I want to kind of get the negatives out of the way, to be honest, before we talk about it. But it was, I think, lower than people were expecting. 2,900, I think, was the official attendance. I believe they sold around 3,000 for the game, so pretty much what was sold was attended in the end, so not too far off. I don't really know what the question is, but is anyone surprised that it was lower? When we played PSG, the qualifier a couple of years ago, it was 4,800. So we've dropped about 2,000 since the last qualifier, albeit SK Brann are not necessarily a name like PSG are. Yeah, Barry, I'll start with you on this one. In terms of the attendance itself, are you surprised it was a little bit lower?
No, it's Thursday at 7:00. Look, the world and the mate knows how much I love women's football, but why are we always so early with everything? Like, football kicks off at 7:45, sometimes 8:00. On the occasional moments, it kicks off at 8:15. Now, why is this an issue? It's an issue because we're talking about LSV, which is still a bit of a trek. Even if you live in Manchester, you've still got to get yourself down there. It's a bit of a commitment to make. And I think also a lot of people talking about the parking and all that sort of thing. So if you know you're going to travel there, but all of the big fans like yourself, Connor, that have had all day to go and get there and have nicked a parking space already, they've got to go and find somewhere 10 minutes away. They've got to do that, and they've got to try and wander in. It's a lot of faff. It's a lot of faff that you wouldn't have if you did an Arsenal and played it at Old Trafford. And I know people don't always want to hear that. So like, oh, well, it's LSV. We're all together really nicely and we get a really good atmosphere when we're in there. And yes, you do. And it was brilliant. And I could hear lots of people singing and it was fantabulous. But equally, stick it in Old Trafford. Like, you'll build an atmosphere when you start getting 40,000 people in through the doors regularly. And I'm not being funny. This is a season where Manchester United are absolutely scarce when it comes to European dates. They're only using it once or twice a month. For the rest of it, it's just lying there like a fallow field, requiring horses and cows to come along and defecate on it and eat the grass up. It's not being used. The men are absolutely useless. So why not let the girls play their European games on that pitch? It's not being used for anything else. Maybe the Carabao Cup. That's about it. Like, not much is going to be happening during the middle of the week. So use it. I think that would probably make a difference, and certainly it makes it a bit more of an occasion as well. And you don't need as much.
I think the kickoff time definitely, because it's a tough one. Because I think if you go too late, you put off, I guess, the families and things like that. If you go at 8 o'clock, or if you go, my opinion, just go 7:30, 7:45, and you're spot on. 7 o'clock is probably a bit too early. And also, as well, for anyone who travels to Huddersfield at the moment, there's massive roadworks on the bridge, so it takes you over double the time to get there now because of
it's going to be that anyway.
Whatever they're doing on there anyway.
Because even if you leave at 9, you still got that 45 minutes in the car park. So it's like, it's not. Like, it is what it is. It's football on a Thursday night. I'm not being funny. I'm a primary school teacher. If a kid came into my class and said to me, I was at the European football for the women last night, sorry, I'm a little bit tired, I'll be like, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know. And Matt, Vic, have you got anything to add on the attendance? Surprise, a little bit lower?
Yeah, I think it was basically the timing. I mean, I struggled, and I live 25 minutes away. Leaving work, then having to do the horses, and then getting a parking space. Luckily, when I got there, I was quite early. I was shocked that there was loads of parking spaces. It was empty in the car parks by the time I got there. But, you know, it was a struggle. And I think for most people, it will have been. So, yeah, it's disappointing, really, though, because I just think, you know, if you're a fan, you know, get there. Like you said, Connor's travelling a long way. He still made it. So me living 25 minutes away, even if it was a struggle, I wasn't going to miss it. But even 7:30 would have been better. Or 8 o'clock, you know, a load of kids go to Old Trafford at 8 o'clock kickoffs for European night. So what's the difference? 8 o'clock isn't that bad. It's a Thursday night. The kids are in school on a Friday. You know, they'll get over it. They've got all weekend to recover. I've been in work today, so lost my voice, but it's fine.
It's good you ain't got a talk match.
I think just to add to what's been said, obviously, like you said, you know, you've all talked about kickoff times. I fully agree. I think the only other thing was obviously the day, like Thursday is not really, you know, doesn't feel like a Champions League day, does it? When we used to like a Tuesday, Wednesday, shouldn't really affect it. But I just feel like it's the Champions League. Like if people can get there, they should. It shouldn't matter whether it's like, you know, pub team from Norway or European champions coming along. You know, get yourselves down. It's not like, you know, it's unaffordable. It's perfectly affordable for families. It's a European competition. So yeah, a little bit disappointed to see 3,000 there, but hopefully for the next stage now that improves significantly.
Yeah, and I think Simon mentions the M6, but a little insight. So I left probably about, when did I leave? An hour maybe after the game, something like that. So, something around that time. I got back at 2:10 this morning. So it was that bad. I was just watching my arrival time when I set off was 10:01. I was like, oh, that's not too bad. I can deal with that. And it went up and up and up. And yeah, got 2 o'clock by the time I finally got back through my door yesterday.
It's going to be a lot worse on Sunday.
Well, that's the positive I wanted to end on.
Closed.
Alan said there as well, 9,000 have been sold for Arsenal, which United tweeted earlier. So it is going to be a lot busier on Sunday, which is good to see from an attendance point of view. Maybe could we get close to the record? Which I believe, was it Arsenal or was it City that is the record at LSV? I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the two. So that's good to see anyway. But yeah, right, enough of that. I know a lot of people want to talk about the draw and everything else. So for people who haven't seen, obviously the draw was made earlier on. We were always going to get a tougher-ish draw because we were in pot 3, so we were guaranteed at least 2 of the, I guess you could call them the real big hitters. But we got Lyon, Wolfsburg, PSG, so we're a return to LSV/Old Trafford, wherever they decide to play it for Mary Earps and Jackie Cronin, so that's going to be quite interesting. Juventus, Vålerenga, and Atletico Madrid, so a return for Bilbao against Manchester United as well. So we've got a couple of reunions going on from that one. Matt, I'll start with you first on this one. In terms of the draw itself, just your thoughts on it, really. Are you happy with it? How do you think we're going to do? What's your kind of, I guess, initial thoughts when you saw it?
I think there's two ways of looking at it. I looked at it and I think my first reaction was, oof, a bit brutal. But then I think sort of like on the flip side for me, it was like, well, actually, do you know what? We're seeing Lyon come into town. PSG are a big name. We've obviously got Wolfsburg again. They used to be a force in Europe and Germany. Vålerenga, another Norwegian team. I think it'll be interesting. I think, again, Juventus, obviously a big name in the football world. I think there's, teams that we can beat that we've been drawn against. I fancy our chances against Juve. I fancy our chances to Vålerenga. There's no reason why we can't take PSG, and take points off them. We played them obviously last time around. We've improved in terms of the quality of the squad. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm excited for it. I think, sometimes I think Skinner said it before, didn't he, on his comments about you want to test yourself against best teams and the best players. We've obviously never got this far before. So I think, for fans and for players, I'm sure they'll be hyped and looking forward to that. I think the only thing for me is how will the squad cope in terms of the size of it, in terms of can we cope playing Sunday, Tuesday or Sunday, Wednesday, whenever the games fall? How much, rotation will we see? How will that impact us long term in the league? So there's quite a few questions there, but I think overall, good draw. I know there's a lot of comments where, people saying, oh, happy that we've avoided Barcelona, happy that we've avoided Madrid, Bayern Munich, but I think at some stage we'll probably, depending how this goes, likely have to face one of those teams anyway down the line. So yeah, interesting to see how we do, I think.
I think the squad's going to be, I think Truce just put it there about, depends how how fit the squad is, because when you're looking at where the dates have been announced in terms of, well, the schedule, so to speak. We don't know which teams are going to be on those, but you look at November, for example, the 11th/12th is going to be a Champions League game. Then we've got City away on the 16th, then the 19th/20th is going to be Champions League. So either side of City is going to be a Champions League game. And before that, it's Villa at home. We got 5 games in November, 4 in October. So again, this is new for us in terms of having this amount of games. And the squad seems thinner than it's ever been over the last couple of seasons as well. And I know Mark, again, in his press conference yesterday, spoke about wanting to get to the winter window and signing more players. He sounds a little bit desperate, to be honest, which I guess he is when you're looking at the squad. However, the league phase is over by the time we get to the winter window, so I don't know why he keeps mentioning that, like, in respect to the Champions League, because we could be out of it by then, so it's kind of irrelevant. Nick, I'll come to you on the group. I keep calling it the groups. I think TJ did put this earlier on as well. I think, Mary, you might start this one. It's not the top 2, so there's no groups anymore. It's a league table. I believe someone could step in, correct me if I'm wrong here. Top 4 go through straight away. 5 to 12 go into a little knockout themselves, and then the winners from that meet the top 4 in the quarterfinals and so on. So that's how I believe it works. And then the ones below that just get knocked out and they're out completely. So it's a full-on league table. So we play these 6 teams, and we've got to finish in the top 12 to progress, essentially. Vic, your thoughts on the draw itself?
Yeah, I think with the draw, we've got a really good variety of teams. And I also think we want that full Champions League experience. And I think these teams are going to do that for us.
I love how we both realised at the same time. First Barry went, then Matt went. I was like, I've missed a memo here.
I just think it's going to give us a real Champions League experience, especially for fans who can get to the away games as well. Be really good for them. There's going to be some tough opponents, but it'll also be nice to, return some players. And it'll be interesting to see the reception for some of them as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love European football. So men or women's, it's going to be brilliant, and I'm really excited. Did Dom used to play for Wolfsburg? Yeah, I thought so. So there's a few of there's going to be some competition, and I like that. That's brilliant.
There's stories everywhere. I think you on the reception point of view, I think I'm really intrigued to see what reaction Mary gets, because I think it's going to be very mixed on that one, and particularly because that one's going to be at LSV/Old Trafford, depending on where the club decide to play it. But that one's going to be interesting. I think Ian did come in with the kickoff time as well, saying kickoffs at Lee are likely going to be 8 o'clock for the league phase, or the 5:45 ones, which UEFA like to do as well, which will kill the attendance if it's 5:45, because that is early from that one. But yeah, we shall wait and see on that one. Barry, for yourself, just your thoughts on the draw overall.
There's just no common sense having a 5:45 kickoff. I mean, on the people that run football sometimes just need, and I say this with the greatest love and not in any way advocating violence, they just need their head banged against the wall, because they're not understanding what they do. You can't get a 5:45 kickoff in the UK and expect for there to be lots of people to get there. I get it when you're throwing a World Cup over in Australia. No, it's not going to be a good time for us in the UK, or indeed for America. It's not the greatest thing. So I get that. Makes complete sense. But when you're talking about Europe and it's only a 1 or 2 hour difference, it's mental. It's absolutely stupid to not consider the ability for these teams to make money, which is supposed to be part of what European football is about, is giving them that wider access. So yeah, if we get 5:45 kickoffs, I vote that we all send strongly worded letters to UEFA and get that sorted. Secondly, Connor, I'm a little bit disappointed that you just didn't do this on yours as well, because then that would have been quite funny, and it was like, oh, what's going on? And that would have been quite funny. But there we go. I'm obviously getting a cold is the answer to my question. So unless you want to see me blow my schnoz, I just disappear every once in a while. So there we go. And the third thing with regards to the draw, listen, my biggest hope is that Valerenga are one of the teams that we play at home, because then we can sort of sing a song like, you know, the Valerenga girls are coming and everybody's jumping. And we can give it a bit of that. Other than that, it's a Champions League draw, and I haven't got a clue how well we're going to do. But if the girls carry on as well as they have done, it's we're going to win the whole thing. So brilliant. Just keep it going. Honestly, it's exciting, and that's the most important thing. Come on, we're in the Champions League. We've not been here before.
They are at home, by the way, but like we are the home team against Valerenga, by the way.
I'll take it all back. UEFA, you are forgiven.
And yeah, as is mentioned there as well, Celine also played for. There's just so many like reunions just all over the place with various different teams as well. There was a comment about Erling kind of sums it up how I kind of feel. I think we beat Valerenga at LSV. I think I also agree that we've got a fair chance against Juve and Atletico. PSG at LSV is going to be. I can go either way. Leon. Yeah, I'll wait and see. And then Wolfsburg away, I think. Yeah, you kind of take whatever there. If you can go there and get a draw, 100% taking that. So yeah, I'm excited, to be honest. As Barry said, we've never been here before. It's an exciting place to be. I was happy with whoever we got, to be honest. I would have liked Bayern Munich at home, but that's just a personal thing. But other than that, I was kind of just content with whoever. So pretty happy on that one. And it seems most people are in the chat as well. I agree to a point. How would you, well, throw this back to you, Owen. Would you agree that Wolfsburg have bought particularly well this summer? Because I agree with you over the last couple of seasons, they're not very good, or they haven't been very good with an aging squad. But I don't think they've bought very well this summer. So I don't think they're maybe it's going to be as easy. Although I do fancy us. For me, it's just I just don't think our squad is big enough. Which is, I think, like I said, it depends how these games fall, like who we've got for, like where. Because obviously we don't know what order these games are going to be in. If we get Lyon and Wolfsburg either side of City away, like you're maybe looking at one of those games thinking, okay, we're not going to win all of them. So it really depends on tomorrow and where these games are scheduled, and we go from there, from that one. Right, let's talk about the game itself. Very, very quickly on the lineup, is there anything that people would have changed from the 11? We're kind of at the point where the squad is at where it's at. Obviously, Celine Bizet was out injured. We don't know whether she's going to be back for Sunday or not. So that was an omission from the squad. But the 11 was pretty much the same, with the same back five. We expect that to be the back five now, with Janssen in there as well, with Nomi Turner. The midfield was kind of what we're expecting now with Zagotti, Hinney and Toon. And the front three is Park, Turland and Mallard. Any objections to that? Were we all pretty happy with the team? Would anyone have changed anything?
Yes, I would have changed something.
Oh, God.
I would not have two goalkeepers on the bench. One of them's not getting on, no matter what happens. Why do it? Why? Stop it. Like, ridiculous.
We also had two less subs as well, I believe, than the opposite.
Brilliant. Loved it.
There is a reason for this two goalkeepers on the bench as well. I'm sure there is.
Do tell, Connor. Do tell.
But yeah.
Can one of them play outfield?
Could you do that? I don't know. I don't know what the legal things are, the rules are around that.
Mackenzie Arnold didn't she?
There you go.
Kayla Rendell scored a header for Southampton.
There you go. But I tell a lie. We didn't just have a few less subs than SK Brann yesterday. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 less subs than SK Brann had yesterday. So we had a lot less.
You name 7 and you can only use a few of them. My point is you're not bringing on two goalkeepers. It's not happening.
Maybe it's that. Maybe we're just that low on players just to make the bench. And Middleton Patel is a long name, so it drops onto 2 lines, so it pushes the names down, so it makes it look even bigger than that actually is.
You want to make it really, really big, you could put on there, number 27, that girl who played right back in the youth team last week. That's a really long name. Use that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Because I was actually expecting some of the kids to be on the bench yesterday. Well, to be fair, after Mark's answer in the press conference, maybe not. But I was kind of hoping that they would be. Am I back? Am I here? I don't know. Everything's frozen on mine.
Oh dear, Connor appears to have frozen. His poor old laptop has been overheating. That's an unfortunate one. If somebody wants to take a photo of that and say, "Oh, he's there." Ah, you ruined the Photoshop. Shame. Carry on, Connor.
I don't know what's going on, to be honest. I was here and I wasn't. Nothing was frozen on my screen apart from you three. Everything else was working fine.
Definitely frozen on ours.
Yeah, and the comments would be, "What on earth happened there?" I don't know. Oh, everything's going wrong now. I can't even unclick the cut. Oh, what's going on? I don't know what I was saying. I was talking about the subs, wasn't I? But yeah.
You was.
That was it.
I don't think Matt and Vic have got anything else to add on the team lineup. They seem quite content.
I was saying that after Mark's answer in the press conference, I didn't expect the kids to be on the bench because he's basically just ruled out any chance of the kids ever playing ever again with what he said. So maybe we give up on that one. But we wanted a quick start. We got it. With Elisabeth Terland, who is completely setting alight the Champions League at the moment. That's 7 goals in the qualifiers already, with a second hat-trick. But the first goal itself, Mario, I'll start with you in terms of it just settled things, didn't it? Because we were kind of saying that we need the first one, because the longer the game goes on, we're going to start to panic and everything like that. Did you kind of think at that moment, yeah, we're going to win from here, as soon as we got that kind of early, I think it was 9 minutes in from that one?
Well, the other day, I said I was worried. And I was worried because Brann had just brought along a side that didn't necessarily play well, but were difficult to play against, insofar as we were doing all of the hard work. We were getting ourselves forward. We just couldn't break them down in the manner that we'd have liked to. And I was nervous that the same thing would happen. The thing with Manchester United is it really does depend which team turns up. When they got their shooting boots on, we absolutely give teams more than a game. When they don't have their shooting boots on, we still give them a game. We just get very frustrated because we can't score. And then we all start coming on here to talk about how sad it is. Listen, it was a good goal. There was a little bit of luck there insofar as the ball running free for her in the manner that it did. I believe that was the one where the defender just went, "Yeah, Liz, have a go." And Liz went, "Thank you very much. Don't mind if I do." Left-footed, by the way. Very nice finish. I screamed quite loudly because that's exactly what you needed. And I think I'd said previously backstage beforehand that an early goal is vital for us as a side. If we get an early goal, we settle and we play well, and we tend to go on to score more than just 1 or 2. We tend to be quite good. It's when we don't have that early goal that we start to panic and it doesn't quite go well because we force it. I think the minute we got that, I thought we would go on and get another goal. Absolutely. I didn't think it'd come as quick as it did, but absolutely. I think at that point I was feeling incredibly good about it.
I think as well, Terland could have had about 6 goals in this game. She hit the post. She had one ruled out that I don't know what on earth was for. We'll talk about the referee. I'm sure in a second, because it's easier when you win. I actually tweeted after the AFU account. It's easier for me to tweet the ref. It's dreadful when you're 3-0 up, rather than when you're losing, because everyone just says you're salty otherwise. Yeah, Vic, so were you expecting that quick start? Yeah, obviously it's what we wanted to see, but were you kind of expecting us to get off the mark so soon?
Yeah, I was actually. I knew that we needed that, and I knew we were going to come out fighting. I think the players, well, the whole team last week weren't impressed with. I mean, they actually played really well last week, but just couldn't finish. So I think this week they just thought we just need to get as many goals as possible. And obviously the first goal took us back to 0-0 really. So, and I just knew as soon as we got, I think in most games with United, as soon as we start, we get rolling, and it does just take that first goal. And that is what our team's like. And I think like yesterday that proved that, you know, we started quick and then obviously just grew and grew through the game.
I think as well as it's kind of in reference, so I was just watching it back when you were speaking there. It's the pressure from the start. You know, in terms of, it's Terland actually that wins the initial ball back and then lays it off to Jade. She's sliding in to win the ball back. And then it's kind of played across, and it's a first time finish for her. When it's, I know it's basically an assist from the Norwegian defender there. But Matt, obviously, we were obviously celebrating the ground as well. But like we were kind of saying at that point when it's just like we did play well, as Vic said there, we did play well last week. Just couldn't find the goal. So it's good to see, isn't it? That maybe that London City game did do more favours in terms of hitting the back of the net a few times to set us up for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I think it was mentioned further in the comments, like the desire and the willingness to win the ball back, effectively as well. Obviously, pressing's one thing, but pressing with like a purpose and intent. And I think, again, there's more people said it there, like the service given to Terland this year more so than previous seasons has made a difference. I think previously, she's been, especially last year, a couple of comments I'd read over the season about, she's scapegoated for me. Like there's a lot of people saying, oh, she can't do it, she can't do this, she can't do that. But she's literally been class. And I think having quality around her has made a big difference. Obviously we've been fortunate to bring in, Rolfo, we've been able to bring in Park, we've obviously got Ziggy as well. You've got Hinney on top form. Mallard's been a lot better this year. And I think overall, when you've got your best players performing like literally early on and all performing well at the same time, I think it makes a massive difference. So like you said, Connie, I'm surprised we didn't get more, but I think there was a real desire from the team to correct what went wrong last week in terms of the finishing. And you saw that from the off, like the hunger was there. We were pinging the ball about at times for fun. And I know in the second half, there's some fancy little patterns of play. I think at one point I might have got too excited and was like, oh, it's like prime Brazil. But listen, yeah, I enjoyed it. And I think it was refreshing. I think, over the past few seasons, I've had Skinner and it's been sort of backwards, sideways, keeper, centre half, lever it forward. It's been a little bit painful, but I think last night, performance-wise, it was good. I certainly enjoyed it anyway.
I'll be glad you brought that up because I was just going to reference that. When you turned to me in the second half at one point, it was just like, gee, what am I watching here? Like, it's like prime Brazil. I think that was the chance. I think it was between Toon, Park and Riviera. It might have been kind of linking up on that. So it was like kind of like flicking it about and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I've not said that on a United Women for years. I don't know what's going on here. But it was good. It's been a long time, I think, since I've watched United Women starting to go like we're passing them off the park here. Like we're really playing around them and toying with them almost. I think I actually said that to you at one point. We were taking the mick, particularly in the second half, with some of the football we were doing. Speaking of taking the mick, I think, Barry, they've been listening to the shows because the second goal, we scored from a corner. And how many rants on these shows have I been going on about bloody corners, hitting the first player and everything else? However, Zigotti took this one. And finally, we have a goal from a set piece, or from a corner in particular. And it didn't hit the side netting or didn't hit or anything else. But obviously, Terland got the second one. But Matt, I'll start with you first on this one round. I don't really know what the question is in terms of the second goal. I'm just so happy that we scored from a corner because I'm sick of seeing them hit the side netting or the first player.
Yeah, I think anyone that knows me knows that corners and free kicks have been the bane of my life for many seasons when a certain former player was taking them. It's been a bit hit and miss, hasn't it? I think for me, and obviously, having worked in football, I think set plays are very undervalued and underrated, and I don't feel like many teams spend maybe enough. I mean, listen, I don't obviously know this for sure, but spend enough time or seem to pay much attention to detail to them, and whether that's something where it's more common fancy routines and things in the men's game, I don't know, but I think having a good set piece and making the most of them opportunities, is good to see. I just hope this continues. And, we've got people that are capable of obviously putting the head on a ball, any little routines it can do, putting, the ball in the net. I think, it's about time. The quality of, like I said before, the quality of midfield now and other players and then around there, the forward line, there should be no reasons now why corners are either hitting the first player, being overhit or hitting the side netting. We'll see how that one develops, I think, over the next few weeks.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think I don't know whether you're referring to what Matt said there or whether you're referring to. I wouldn't want your first thought to be me and ranted about corners if that was your first thought when that went in. But yeah, I just couldn't believe it. Didn't actually register to me. Otherwise, I'd have tweeted it at the time that we scored from a corner. It didn't actually register to me that it was a corner we scored from because I'm so used to just seeing them wasted. I wasn't really like kind of just thinking, we scored. But yeah, it was. Barry, I'll come around to you a second on this one in terms of that's a brilliant comment from Brandon. Just the fact that it's another. What's the best way of putting it? Another dimension, I guess, that we need to have if we're going to, I guess, unlock teams like this. Because we saw what can happen when we're not scoring, I guess, with the ball on the ground, so to speak, and not, scoring from open play. you need set pieces, don't you, to be able to unlock these.
Well, I can confirm that we did score from a corner. My first thought was you, absolutely. I was like, he'll finally be able to sleep tonight. That's great news. You've seen that guy who's the United fan that won't cut his hair until United win 5 games in a row. And you're like the guy who won't get a wink of sleep until the corner actually makes contact with a Manchester United women's player head. And it did. So great news. Good night's sleep last night. If he hadn't got in at sort of 7:30 in the morning, he'll have to have it tonight instead. It was such a good goal. Really, really good. And you're right. It is another string to the bow. And that's what you need. It's got to have that ability to be able to surprise teams and to have those different ways. You can't just have one way of playing and one thing that you do, because if you do that, it's really difficult. All of a sudden, you just end up being easy to play against. But when you know that actually you're pressuring the players, which they are, we mentioned the press already today, it's been superb. All of a sudden, you've even got them panicking, well, I don't want to put this out for a corner because they're just as good at corners. You know, then you go and get yourself somewhere like Rory Delap, and then they're good at throw-ins as well. And before you know it, like, where'd you put the ball? And at that point, checkmate, because you've got them. They've got nowhere to go, and the panic sets in. Last season, I was quite critical about our play in general, because our goals were only coming from us taking advantage of mistakes. But this season, it is much more apparent that we are going to force these teams into making those mistakes. And that, Matt mentioned it earlier, it's that press with purpose. It's that ability to actually know what you're doing. Everybody, the Rock would be delighted because everybody knows their role. And it's really important that they do that. And they've done superb. So I think the header was brilliant. You know, we know that Elisabeth Terland's quite good with her head. And it was nice to see that this one went in, because obviously in the game against Brann last time, she put one just wide right at the beginning, and that would have been a different game, I think, it would have scored from that, because it would have calmed down a bit and would have done great. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's a very important thing that we get in, but it's one corner, and we need to see that regularly happening more often. And it is just about being unpredictable. That's the word I think I'm after. We need to be unpredictable so that they never know what's coming next. And that should be the big thing. So that, yeah, it's very, very good. It was 2-0. I was absolutely delighted. And at that point, I absolutely knew that we were going to be in the Champions League, which is superb news, because I couldn't see Brann scoring. We could still be playing, and I don't think Brann would have scored.
I don't think they actually... I don't remember them having... They definitely had shots on target. Oh, no, they had one shot on target. I was going to say, I don't remember having to do anything in the game. So, yeah. I was with you. As soon as we scored the second, I think I might have actually said that to Matt Garrett, that should be done now from that one. This was a brilliant comment from Mia. Here every time I call, United waste a corner. Tiny corner-looking fairy dying. I think so.
There's a tiny corner-looking fairy. I think I've seen these. I've seen them.
Oh,
I'm going to find one. You crack on. I'll pick the question.
TJ put imagine. Oh, I'm dreading.
I think I know an imaginary. I've got it. Vic, you crack on. I'm going to go and find a Connor fairy. I'll be back.
Yeah, take it away, Vic. And anything to add on the second goal?
I dread to think what's going to come on the screen in a minute. Yeah, the second goal was brilliant. It was really nice with Terry, actually, because she had left foot, right foot header, didn't she? I'm pretty sure. So that's nice. And it's just really nice to see the players like literally playing with freedom. And like, I know we say this like a lot, but this season so far they are playing with a lot of freedom. And like Matt was saying before, it's always been pass back, and they're not doing that. They're actually they look like they want to score. And I feel like sometimes last season we didn't really have that. Even the last few seasons, to be fair, we've not really had that. But pressure from the start, it was brilliant. And yeah, the second goal was just classic. And she's good in the air, Terry. So it was nice to see her get the net.
No, I agree. I think, like Barry said, especially after last week, where a couple of headers went astray. Here we go. We're going to get kept up to date in the chat now, I think, with some live scores, because there are 2 WSL games going on at the moment. London City beating Everton. Who'd have thought? maybe they'll finally get their first win in the WSL from that one. I'm dreading when it's going to break our screen. I can't lie. But I want to quickly just ask you, obviously, in terms of the referee, before we get to the second half and everything else, because as I said, when you win 3-0, it's easy to bring this stuff up. I don't really know what the question is in terms of, because we're all in agreement, right? The refereeing was pretty poor. Yeah. Oh, Barry's gone. I can see it as well. I'm not even going to ask this guy. I'm going to let Barry bring this up.
There they are. There they are. They're the little Connor fairies. Look at them. I used to have these when I was kids. I didn't realise they were Connor fairies at the time. But look at that. They got the hair and everything. Oh, you could do with getting some clothes, to be honest with you, Connor. That's a little bit unnecessary. But little Connor fair, look at them. They're beautiful. Different coloured hair. There's all sorts. I love them. Superb. And
is Connor the red one?
Every time a Connor corner hits the goal, one of them dies. Poor little Connor Charles.
I can't believe people are agreeing with you in the chat. Oh, jeez. Which one did you say, Vic? Am I the red one, did you say?
Yeah, you're the red one for United. With the red devil eyes.
Oh, I'm gutted as well because my haircut was supposed to be tomorrow. It's not. It's now next Saturday, so it's even longer for another week. Yeah, there you go. That's the image that everyone's going to take away from them now when they leave this show. That's what people are gonna think of. I can't believe it. But in terms of the ref, what did people make of that? Was it as bad? Do people think now we're away from the emotion of the game as we maybe initially thought? What's everyone's kind of thoughts on that overall? Because a lot of tackles were flying in, but it also seemed like everything was a foul. I don't quite know why a couple of them were ruled out.
It was awful.
Towards the end,
it was.
What made it awful? Deep dive.
The easiest way to say is the ref give us nothing, like nothing. There was a tackle made right in front of me. It was on Ella, and the scream that came out of that girl was actually horrible. And I honestly thought she was hurt, and the ref didn't even give her a yellow card. It was an awful tackle. Why was the second Terry's? I don't know if it was second or third goal. Was it a third? It was third because the second half, I think. Why that was disallowed, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was nothing wrong with that goal. We were on corners told off for pushing. That was not even any contact. Oh, it was just, it was actually a disgrace. And I just thought we were in a Champions League game. We've got fireworks and everything, smoke going off, and the ref's decisions are like yours. It was dreadful. Awful.
Yeah, it certainly didn't help. And I think where we were sat as well, I actually had a couple of VAR decisions on my phone because it was like, because I was filming a couple of bits as well. I was like, hang on a minute. No, that decision's wrong. I've got that. Oh, dear. Am I back? Am I not back? I don't know. Just going to sit here and smile.
You're all good, Colin. You're fine. Can you hear us? No, you can't. Can you hear us, Connor? No, he can't hear us. Brilliant. I suppose it's my go then. Are we talking about the ref? Is that what we were talking about? Yeah. I didn't really care, is the honest answer. Because we were winning, I tend to be a lot more positive when it comes to the referees. But there was a bit of a nightmare. Their left back, I think it was, just on attack after attack, fall after fall, pull after pull. And the ref just was not, under any circumstances, going to give a yellow card. It was absolutely ridiculous. Connor's gone, but he's gone, and he's also there, which is the strangest.
No, I'm here.
Oh, he's back now. Thank God. It was the way you were shaking your head.
Do you know what? It's so weird though, because like when the internet goes, or if my laptop, whatever, like the whole thing crashes, so I can't do anything. It's really weird because it's only you three are freezing, so I can do everything else. I can still bring comments up. I can do everything, but like only you two at 3 are freezing. So I don't know what's going on. I think there's something with StreamYard that's bugging on my laptop, to be honest, because I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, I don't know. Anything to add on the ref? Did you cover that while I was froze? Or
No, that was it. I'll finish with the ref. I'm not too fast.
There we go. I don't think it's been laptop enough. Well, it might be, to be fair. I've had this Mac about 7 years, so it might be that. Apple products don't usually last that long, so maybe it's that. What's all this about? Trying to say that Barry runs riot when I'm not here. Can't believe this.
I run riot. Barry has here. What's that all about?
Barry has his show where he can run riot. That's a tongue twister now, and that's the Christmas cracker, which will be back obviously in December as well for round 4, I believe, isn't it? So that'll be quite good. Here we go. Ian's in the chat now. He did actually say to me yesterday, "Don't bring the ref up." So, well, got to do it. So it's supposedly for handball, the Terry goal that got ruled out. Yeah, I don't know. Just poor all round. However, it didn't stop her getting a hat trick. She did get it. Matt, I'll start with you on this one in terms of the hat trick goal. Obviously, it was right in front of us. I can't remember who actually played the ball through, but it was a lovely little poke into the far corner.
Yeah, nice little build-up as well. I think, it was obviously the conversation from the three of us when we were sat together about the perfect hat trick. And yeah, I think, it's something where we've maybe lacked in previous years in terms of somebody starting the season this well. I think there's many people referenced there. She's up to 8 goals already, not far off last season's total. And I think, once Liz is firing, like we say, we've got Mallard firing, Tooney's up there in terms of assists. I think it just makes it, more fluent. And I think yesterday, like we've all spoke about before, Liz could have had more, some debatable decisions, some unfortunate bits of play that didn't come off, and we tried different things. But yeah, I think, listen, long may it continue. I know I said to you, Connor, last night, it was actually about the other day when you had Phil on the show, and he said, keep feeding her what we do, and long may it continue. So yeah, I think delighted for Liz as well, because she's a hard worker, and like I referenced earlier on the show, last season especially, she grafted with not much support, and I think now we've found that balance to get people in and around her, but also supporting her, and the working as a front three properly to win that ball back. I think it makes it a lot more enjoyable, and I'm sure better for her as well as a player.
And I think you always hear strikers and forwards talk about confidence and everything else. So I think, as we said, the fact that most of our forwards are off the mark already, in terms of Jess Park is, Mallard is, Terland is, Tooney is in terms of assists as well. As we kind of mentioned, like they're all already firing. And I think once Rolfo gets into the side as well, obviously Golson's not featured yet, can start really hopefully kicking on. So yeah, Vic on the hat trick itself, and then Barry just bring us home, I guess, on the third goal.
Yeah, it was Mallard who played the ball through, wasn't it? Was a really good way to pass. And yeah, it did make the perfect hat trick. Someone's just commented. I think, like everyone said, is they're all off the mark and they're all playing with confidence. There was no way that Terry was missing that after she got the ball. And I think at the end of the first half, she was trying a bit too hard. And when she's really playing quite calmly, the other players are helping her out and stuff like that. That's when she excels. But when she tries too hard, it's like it's not going to go anywhere. But she got it in the end, and I'm delighted for her. And she also ran to the away fans, did she not? And didn't she used to play for them? So I was like, go on, girl. With the 3 in the air, I loved that. We like a bit of competition.
Yeah, I think that the guys have already spoken about the actual goal. I think the fact that she's got another hat trick is really important. I mean, we've got some clown in the comments who's going, not been tested yet. Honestly, get a grip, mate. We're a little bit excited because we made it to the Champions League for the first time. Yeah, well done. You won it last year. Good job. Excellent stuff. But like, you know, allow us the moment to actually celebrate the fact that our team is really starting to come together, and it really is starting to do the things that we would hope and want as fans them to do. I'm so pleased to see that she's finally able to be in a position where she's being used more, where she's getting into the right positions. It's like they're clicking. That first season, they were just sort of struggling a little bit. It's a bit like when you get a puzzle and you're trying to put the pieces in and they're just not quite managing to go in, and then you realise, oh, maybe it's the wrong puzzle pieces. And I think actually that's where we were. It was superb to have Queen Elizabeth, Her Majesty herself, the third, getting that excellent hat trick, because the confidence that gives her is second to none. She will need to start to replicate that in the WSL as well, because most of these goals have appeared in Europe. And yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, if she just scores in the Champions League and we end up beating Arsenal in the final, I'm not going to be against that. Like, I won't be mad at that. That's not going to be a bad thing, but it would be nice to see her transferring that into the WSL as well. But it's just good to see that attacking threat. As bad as it feels defensively, in some ways, it almost feels very Manchester United, because Manchester United, when it was at its very best, was always, if you score 3, you'll score 4. And actually, if we can be that team this season, where it doesn't matter how many goals the other team score, we're just going to try and score 1 more than you, we are in for an absolute treat. And talking of history, I've actually managed to find a photo of Connor's laptop, because I know people are a little bit worried about it. And this is, I do believe, Connor's laptop that he's currently using. So a GoFundMe would be quite helpful, I think.
Honestly, if you can hear me right now, Barry, might have to take over the show, because my laptop. Do you know when I said a minute ago that only you 3 are freezing? Oh no, everything is gone. So if you could mute me and just take me off thing for a second while I sort this out.
Hey, that's giving John Foster a run.
The absolute irony that I've just tried to take the mick out of him by putting the laptop up there, and his laptop won't let him see the picture, has blown my mind. You couldn't write this script. You absolutely couldn't write it. That is absolutely untrue. But there we go. Connor's going to try and sort himself out. Listen, we are nearing the end, I think. So if you haven't been voting for player of the match, it's really close. So you might want to get in on that and decide who your player of the match is. But we talk about a hat trick. I think defensively, we have actually been quite good. And that to me is quite an important thing as well. When we were trying to find the player of the match, Matt and Vic, none of us mentioned a defender. But that's not because they weren't doing great. It's because actually they just weren't tested as much as we'd have liked them to be. In terms of how the season's going, do you feel quite confident with that defence going into these European matches against the likes of Lyon? You know, do you think they could stand up to that? Because people are saying it's going to be the most difficult match. It will be, but do you think that this is a defence that can stand up to that and give us a good opportunity in that game? Vic, you can kick us off.
Yeah, I think Janssen's really calm at the back. Real likely at centre back. I think we're utilising her a lot better this season. Her being at centre back with a normal position instead of in the midfield. She also does come up the pitch, which is brilliant. Maya, I mean, she's just like a brick wall, really, isn't she? For her height, I honestly don't know how she does it, but anyway. And then Anna is just so fast. Again with Jade, it's just keeping them fit. Obviously, we saw Jade come off last night. Hopefully, that's nothing too serious. But keeping them fit, keeping them healthy, obviously, is our main thing, because really we've got, I don't know who you're putting on at right back. I mean, we had Lisa last night at right back when Jade went off. Gabby George probably wouldn't be the most suitable against Lyon as a left back. She's very strong, but she's obviously not as fast as Anna. So it's just really keeping those players fit and healthy, because we haven't got the strongest squad, as in the biggest squad that we can just say, oh, it's fine, we could put this person on instead. And that is my only worry with, the whole season really, is we've started really well. The defence have been amazing. Yeah, they've probably not been tested as much as, other teams, because we've been that good. The ball's been up the pitch, not down the pitch. So that's the way I look at it. People can say we've not been tested, but we've been tested in other ways. And yeah, that's the main thing, is can we keep this up? Can we keep the players fit?
I mean, I tend to agree. And Matt, is that something that you're worried about? Because, I mean, we know that defence is slimline, to say the least. Do you fear that this has the potential to be a really good season, but that actually we are only 1 or 2 niggles, even not even injuries, just niggles away from potentially finding ourselves in dire straits?
Yeah, listen, I fully agree with what Vic said. I think it's about keeping people fit. I think, comments have said there about dropping Dommy in, and I think, it was something I'd mentioned last season to a couple of people when Millie was sort of off form and looking a bit shaky, was that Dommy was, a solid, experienced head that was a strong player that offered something a little bit different to Millie in terms of the way she plays. And I think, for me, left back since Alex Greenwood left has been a bit of a problem position, but I think Anna Sandberg has nailed that. And I think her coming in again, different player to Gabby George, different player to obviously Hannah when she's back. But I think, that solidifies that side. If we can keep Jade fit and, avoiding knocks or any long-term injuries, then it's not a bad back line. Obviously, you add that to Fallon, who, we had a great season last year in terms of goals conceded. There's no reason why we can't be pushing and seeing what we can do in Europe, which will be very interesting. But I think, with that, there's a few comments that mentioned about midfield, and I think there was something I mentioned last night to Connor, and it was Jess Park, and she went all the way back to right back to cover. I think she was in the final third, and literally her work rate to get back to help defend in that right back position, it allowed Jade to tuck inside, solidify the middle, and I think as a unit, that's what you want. If your midfield's dropping in, helping out, and they know what they're doing, and everyone's on the same wavelength in terms of moving, shuffling along, and covering those positions, then fantastic. And I think that'll be a big thing, not only keeping defenders fit, but how we work out of possession without the ball and how that unit works, linking with the midfield. So yeah, I think it looks a lot better. And I think me personally, I feel a lot more confident with the back four of Sandberg, Dommy, Maya and Jade. So yeah, we'll see how that progresses throughout the season.
Indeed, yeah.
I 100% agree, despite the fact I didn't hear most of what any of you said. So, I've never had such a welcome, though, by the way. Look at this. I'm happy with that.
I'll be honest, Erling doesn't sound too fussed.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's more of a
Connor's back. Lovely.
Yeah, I took a picture of what was on my screen. I'll send it to you guys when I come up. Honestly, literally, everything just... like every tab that I've got open, activity monitor, my WhatsApp, everything merged onto one screen, so it was all like within it. Oh, it looked a mess. So yeah, I just literally just force close everything. Yeah. All right. None of that. I can rewatch the show. Don't you worry. I did end the player of the match poll. Is it unanimous? Has everyone on the panel gone for Terland? There we go. There were 3 other shouts. Obviously, you can ask me as ours, Zagatti, Olmer, and Jay Riviere. I know you guys were talking about the defence, but I think there was a comment from Truth a bit further up. I don't know whether you brought it on screen or not. But I do agree that the midfield is actually putting less pressure on the back line because they're covering the back line a lot better than what we've had before. I'm getting insulted now. What's going to move along? Shouldn't have come back. Should have stayed off screen.
You might, benefit of the doubt, you might be talking about me switching you back over to the host side.
I'll wait and see for clarification on that one. I'm trying to shut more things down on my laptop so it doesn't happen again. To be fair, we are at the end of the show anyway. So
Did you see the picture of your laptop, Connor?
You know what?
Did you see the picture of your laptop?
No.
Because the absolute irony was, go back and watch it because it's brilliant. I actually told them all that I had a photo of your laptop talking about things from the past. And then I showed them this laptop.
Oh, my life.
And then you just went, I don't know, like a voice from the other side. I don't know if you can hear me, Barry, but just mute me. And I'm like, oh, I haven't seen it. The absolute irony. You couldn't write it.
It literally crashed as you were saying that. Yeah, no, didn't get a word of it. In terms of, is that the most one? It's not. So I did end the poll. So Elisabeth Terland on 79%, Miyazawa on 11, Zagotti on 6, Jade on 4. It's not the biggest poll we've had. I think I said this on our previous show. It was Hinny last season, and she got like 90 plus something percent. It was like 92 or something like that. City in the Conti Cup. So that's never getting beat on that one. But yeah, Terland wins player of the match for this one, which is not much of a surprise as we go through on that one. A final question then before well, my laptop just goes completely, I guess. It's going already. I can see myself lagging again. It's score prediction for Sunday. Because obviously games coming thick and fast now. We've got Arsenal at LSV on Sunday. What's everyone thinking scoreline wise for that one? It's an open question. Whoever wants to go out there first. Don't all shout out. Put your hands up.
I'll go. I think 1-0 United. I don't think it's going to be a big scoreline like we've had the last 2 games, but I think we're going to win. We'll have the home advantage. There's a lot of tickets sold. I think it's 9,000 now. Yeah, I think we're going to get the win. We're looking good.
I'm saying 2-1 win.
This is a really tricky one because Arsenal are a good side. You know, we've got to be fair on that, and they've had a massive amount of time between the game. We have not had that amount of time between the game, and that in itself is not a good thing. But I do think the number of games we've played is actually a positive for us. So there is a part of me that thinks that actually we are probably clicking just as well as Arsenal are. The games against them have been, I think, really quite interesting, quite good. So I think we are going to win. I don't just want to go 2-1 though. I think I'm going to double edge it. If we score first, we're going to win 3-1, maybe even 4-1. If we don't score first, it could just be 1-0.
Yeah, and we actually have a good record at home against Arsenal anyway. I was just fact checking this comment saying we haven't beaten them at least since 22. I was just fact checking that we actually haven't. I thought we had, to be honest, but no, we haven't beaten them in a couple of years. From a league point, but like I said, we've got a good record at home. The last couple, I say good record. We don't get beat a lot at home by them. 1-0, 2-2, 1-0. 2-0 loss, 1-0 win. Like, we've got a pretty good record at home, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I think so. A lot of people are asking about injuries. I can't comment on injuries. I think we're just gonna have to wait to see on Sunday whether people are back. Whether people are back or not. I don't know where I was going with that. The comment threw me off. So yeah, but I do think Philip's right that we have to score first. On that one. Someone saying I told you so. I bet Barry would shock us. In what sense? Because you then put I've told you so. So in what sense? I don't think Barry said something too outlandish. But I'll leave that to your imagination. I think on that one. But yeah, I think we'll round it off there because otherwise I don't think.
The question then? What have I done? I meant to have shocked someone.
Yeah, that's what it said.
I bet Barry would shock us. Well, I'll be honest, I'm not allowed near electricity really, so I don't think you've got to worry too much.
With the score prediction.
Well, it wasn't that out. I don't think it's that outrageous at all. Like you just said, I think actually it's quite reasonable. I don't think I'm not having that. I think it's a reasonable prediction, and we shall see. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but is what it is. That's what I'm going for.
No, there we go. So it's a prediction at the end of the day. I can't believe, by the way, this is the way I'm finding out Early's not at the game. Can't believe this. I was fully expecting to be stood with you again on Sunday. Now I'm really sad that you're not there on Sunday. I don't know when I next see you now. I'll have to message you after this, see when I can next see you at a game now, because I thought you'd be at Sunday. But yeah, we'll wrap it at that. There's potentially an Arsenal preview tomorrow. Trying to sort that one has been a bit of a nightmare. Mainly my own fault. I've left it to the last minute, and trying to sort that is proving a little bit more difficult. Though I thought if there is a preview, it would be pre-recorded and go out tomorrow, at some point in the afternoon. From that one. Yeah, all of our socials at allforunitedwfc. I've enjoyed this show, although I've missed bits of it. It's been kind of been going through, but it's been good to see Vic and Matt back on the channel. I promise I won't leave it another year and to have them both back on the channel. And you've kind of seen everyone now that is going to be on the channel for the season ahead, which is quite good. Now I've got everything sorted and all those kind of things. Obviously, thanks to everyone in the chat. You've been absolutely amazing again. I will add, by the way, as well, a couple of you came up to me on yesterday at the game, which was really nice. A couple of you really excited to see me, which was amazing, by the way. So that was amazing. So if you are watching this, you did say you watched the shows. I can't remember for the life of me what your name was. I really apologise. But you'll know who you are. Outside the Ren, it was kind of about 4 o'clock time. But yeah, really nice to meet you, and thanks for everything that you said about the channel and everything else. So if you do see us about on Sunday, there'll be a lot of us there. Make sure you come over and say hi. It's always nice to meet lots of you around on match days as well. We'll be back on Monday for the match reaction show, 7 o'clock as always. Thanks to all of you in the chat. You've been absolutely amazing. Make sure you're liking this video and subscribing if you haven't already. Oh my life. What? I didn't even see that in the I just went to click the outro. Oh, God. I don't know what to say.
It's not my best work, I'll grant you, but I was rushing.
That's going to end up on Twitter now, you know that. Honestly, timing-wise, yeah.
I actually wanted it available for when you were asking me who the player of the match was. I was going to say this person, but I wasn't quick enough for that.
Unbelievable. Oh. Well, thanks to everyone who stuck to the end. That's why you should always stay to the end of the show and not just not leave before the credits have rolled, so to speak. Barry did shock us in the end. Maybe that you were foreshadowing that on that one. But yeah, thanks to all of you in the chat. Make sure you come back Monday for more of this. You're going to see some expert analysis plus some craziness, as there always is, on that one. If you go into the game, obviously enjoy it. If you're not, enjoy it. Yeah, have a good weekend as well. Thanks to all of you for joining. It's for these three on screen, and we shall see you guys in the next one.